Most of us already know that trying harder doesn't hold. And we begun to see that knowing who we are doesn't hold either. So we look somewhere else. Not to what we do, not to who we are, but to what we believe will save us when everything else fails. And we see this all the time in the person who finally gets everything in place, the right job, the right system, the right structure, and it still feels like something underneath it isn't steady. Not because anything is wrong, but because it doesn't feel like it will hold if something goes wrong. Because at some point, you realize something simple. You can't hold yourself up forever. And when that realization settles in, you stop asking, how do I stand? And you start asking something deeper. What will catch me when I can't? Because at some point, you are going to fall. This is the next place we turn. Rescue. The belief that something outside us can hold us when we can't hold ourselves. And again, this doesn't sound wrong. It sounds necessary. Because we all know, at some level, we are not enough. So we look for something that is. A system, a structure, a belief, a solution. Something that can carry the weight we cannot. And this is where we make a subtle mistake. We stop trusting ourselves, but we start trusting systems. The Titanic was designed to be unsinkable. Not casually, intentionally. It was built with compartments that could seal, reinforced structure, advanced engineering. Everything about it communicated one thing: you are safe here. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And people believed it. Not blindly, reasonably, because the system worked. The design made sense. The structure was sound. And for a time, it held. Until it met something it wasn't built to handle. And when it did, the system didn't fail all at once. It failed gradually, compartment by compartment, section by section. Because systems that feel secure often fail slowly enough to keep your trust even as they are giving way. The Titanic didn't sink because it was poorly designed. It sank because it was trusted to do something it could not ultimately do. But sometimes the problem isn't the system. Sometimes the problem is what we expect it to carry. The younger son in Jesus' story believes something simple. If I can get far enough away, I can build something better. And at first, it worked. Freedom, resources, control. He wasn't surviving. He was living. Because rescue doesn't always look like safety. Sometimes it looks like opportunity. And opportunity feels like control until it runs out. But what he trusted was still inside the same system. And when the system shifted, when the money ran out, when the famine came, everything he was depending on collapsed. Not because it was evil, not because it was foolish, but because it couldn't hold him when everything else moved. And suddenly, he found himself in a place where nothing worked. No effort, no identity, no system, just exposure. And this is where we live. We trust the things that seem strong: careers, financial stability, relationships, institutions, even belief systems, because they work. They produce results. They provide structure. They make life feel manageable. And when something makes life feel manageable, we begin to trust it as if it can hold us. But managing life is not the same thing as standing. And this is where it breaks. Here is the problem. What you trust is only as stable as the thing it depends upon. It's like trying to stand on something that's moving with you. Like trying to balance on a boat you are also trying to row. It feels stable until the water shifts. And if what you trust is still inside the system, then when the system shifts, it shifts with it. You cannot be held by something that is moving with you, because when it moves, you move. And when everything is moving, nothing is holding. This is why it feels so convincing, because these things work. They help you function. They help you recover. They help you rebuild. And when something helps you, you begin to lean on it. But help is not the same as rescue, because help operates within the system. Rescue must come from outside it. So when instability shows up, we don't question what we trust. We double down on it. More structure, more control, more dependence. Because if it worked before, it should work again. But what if the problem isn't how much you trust it, but what you're trusting? Because if what you trust cannot actually hold you, then it will only carry you as long as everything else cooperates. And the moment things shift, you won't feel supported, you'll feel abandoned. Not because nothing is there, but because what is there was never able to hold you in the first place. Because when everything shifts, it won't matter what worked before. And if what you trust isn't enough, then what exactly are you depending on to hold you up when everything gives way? And if you've ever had something fail you, I'd be interested to hear what it was. Next time, we're going to stop removing things and finally look at what actually holds. I'm James Burke. This is Where to Stand.